My name is Melissa Ward. I used to work as an overnight courier, and what I'm about to tell you made me quit that job for good. I was driving a delivery route between two cities in my state, about a 3-hour drive, mostly on interstate. It was early spring, cold and dry, and my shift that night started at midnight. By 3 a.m., I was out on the open highway. Cruise control set just under the speed limit, almost no cars around. I remember the first time I saw her because I looked right at the mile marker sign as I passed. Mile marker 41. She was on the shoulder, walking with her back to traffic, barefoot, wearing a thin white dress that hung in strips like it had been torn. Her hair was long and dark, tangled and hanging over her shoulders. Her arms hugged her body like she was freezing. As my headlights swept over her, she turned her head just slightly, enough that I could tell she'd noticed me. I thought runaway, maybe a victim of something horrible, and my hand actually moved toward my hazard switch. Then I remembered company policy. No passengers ever, for any reason. I told myself I'd call the highway patrol at the next rest area, and I kept going, my stomach twisted with guilt. The temperature outside was barely above freezing. Maybe 15 minutes later, I passed mile marker 47. The road curved gently, then straightened again. That's when I saw her a second time. Same side of the road. Same shredded white dress, same tangled hair, same bare feet, heel striking the gravel shoulder like she'd been walking for hours. There was no way she could have gotten there on foot. I hadn't passed any cars pulled over. There were no side roads, no exits between those markers. But there she was. This time she was already turned toward the road like she'd been waiting. As my truck approached, she stepped closer to the white line, her face tilted up a little into my lights. Her skin looked gray, like there was no blood left in it. I couldn't see her eyes clearly, but her mouth was open just enough that I could tell she was saying something. I couldn't hear it through the cab, but I could see her lips forming the same word over and over. Help. I drove past her again. By then, my hands were shaking on the wheel. I turned off the radio because every sound felt wrong. The darkness outside the windshield seemed too thick, pressing in on the edges of the headlights. I told myself I was tired, that my brain was misfiring, that I was seeing patterns that weren't there. I focused on the green glow of the next overhead sign, on the clock on my dashboard. 3:27 a.m. The third time I saw her, she wasn't on the shoulder. She was in my lane. There was no build-up, no gradual reveal. My high beams hit her full on, standing in the center of my lane, facing me like she'd been planted there. Her head hung forward, hair hiding her face, arms limp at her sides. I slammed the brakes and swerved into the left lane. The truck shook so hard I thought I'd flip it. For a moment, my headlights swung away, and when they crossed back, she was gone. There hadn't been time for her to move. There was nowhere for her to go. My truck finally straightened out. My heart was pounding so hard I felt sick. I checked my mirrors, expecting to see her behind me on the road. All I saw were my own tail lights stretching into black. I forced myself to keep driving until I reached a small rest area. I pulled in, parked under the brightest light, and just sat there with my hands still clamped on the wheel. I must have stayed like that for 10 minutes. When I finally looked up, I caught movement in my side mirror. A woman was standing at the edge of the light, just beyond the reach of the lamp. The white of her dress seemed to glow faintly. Her hair hung in the same tangle. She didn't move toward me. She just stood there, head tilted, watching. I squeezed my eyes shut. When I opened them again, she was gone. I went inside, found the emergency phone, and told the attendant what I'd seen. He went pale and said, "People call about her every few months. Highway patrol never finds anyone." I quit 2 weeks later. I still have to drive that interstate sometimes. No matter what, I will not look at mile marker 41. Because I know if I do, she'll be standing there waiting for me to see her again.